Pack it up, pack it in. Let us begin. Coming to you live from Studio 6. It's time for yet another edition of Inside the Inferno. I'm AJ Gonzalez, joined alongside by Andrew Neum. Andrew, the weather's getting colder. Thanksgiving is inching closer and closer, which means the sports are still plentiful.
You're right, AJ. I'm hungry and excited, and the temperatures are dropping. Winter sports are tipping off, and yet the Sun Devils are still hot. There's so much to unpack on our second to last show of the fall semester. So let's jump into it.
Amen to that, brother. To start the show out today, we're going to showcase ASU's athletes lighting it up this week. Our Tanner Buck has another edition of the Sun Devil 6.
Thanks, AJ. I cannot wait to be the one to send us off into this week's edition of the Sun Devil 6. To start us off with a bang, flying in at number 6 is men's basketball center Masamba Diop, who pokes the ball away, forcing a steal and taking it coast to coast for the early score in the first half of Sparky's season-opening win over Southern Utah. At number 5 is women's basketball guard Marley Washenitz, who intercepts this half-court pass and lets it fly from beyond the arc for the three-point splash in the third quarter from its season-opening victory over Coppin State. With precision, at number 4 is Sun Devil hockey forward Bennett Shimmick. He labels this one in the top shelf of the net in his team's first game against their victory against Miami of Ohio. Staying on the ice at number 3 is forward Sean McGurn, who scores off this perfectly placed pass from forward Bennett Shimmick to take a 2-1 lead in Game 1 against Miami of Ohio. Locating his teammate perfectly at number 2 is center Sean McGurn in a storm of defenders who threads this needle of a pass to forward Cruz Lucius, who puts it where Mama hides the cookies, top shelf, with 9 minutes in the first period for ASU hockey in the second game against Miami of Ohio. Breaking away at number 1 on a crucial 3rd and 4 in the third quarter is quarterback Jeff Sims, who sidesteps a defender and ramps up the engine, never looking back for an 88-yard rushing touchdown, propelling Sun Devil football to a 24-19 win in the Big 12 championship rematch at Iowa State. Guys, that is all for this high-flying edition of the Sun Devil 6, as I toss it back to AJ and Andrew back at the desk.
Thanks, Tanner, for recapping this week's top plays. Now, we've seen some ASU alumni leave the Valley and start making a name for themselves outside of Tempe in the professional ranks. Our Brennan Bucher has the latest on this week's edition of Pro Devils.
Thanks, guys. I am pumped to have another day highlighting Pro Devils as the Maroon and Gold continue to thrive post-college. Let's get into it. First, we'll start with the final update of the season on running back Cam Skattebo. In Week 8, the New York Giants and Philadelphia Eagles were in action when Skattebo attempted a catch and was tackled. His leg became trapped underneath of him, and the ankle turned in a violent way. He was carted off the field, placed in an air cast, and taken to the hospital for evaluation. The official diagnosis, a dislocated ankle in his lower right leg. Further reports elaborated that it included a fractured fibula and ruptured deltoid ligament. Skattebo will be out for the remainder of the 2025 season. However, he should be good picking up where he left off in 2026, as he was on pace for a monster season, averaging 4.1 yards per carry and was even a major part of the New York passing game as well. Should he make the same impact next season, he would be eligible for the NFL's Comeback Player of the Year award under the new guidelines for the honor. Next, staying on the gridiron, we'll go to Tampa Bay, Florida, where running back Rachaad White is having a solid season. This includes a 2-touchdown game about a month ago in Seattle. He's averaging roughly 4 yards a carry, and many NFL insiders are crediting his RB1 upside as a great compliment to quarterback Baker Mayfield and the success of the 6-2 Buccaneers. Along with his 0 turnovers this season, White is playing the perfect role that the Bucs need to look into a playoff run in 2026. Finally, we'll end with one of the most successful Pro Devils to ever do it. ASU alumnus Phil Mickelson and the Live Golf League, an open competitor to the PGA Tour, made headlines this week after changing the format of their tournaments. Mickelson was a part of the first ever Live event in June of 2022, when the tournament was still a 54-hole setup. This was a major difference from the PGA's 72-hole setup, and this made Live golfers ineligible for the major world golf ranking system, OWGR. With the new move to a 4-day 72-hole format, this could open the door to seeing more Live golfers, like Mickelson, compete for more high-level tournaments and major championships. And with that, I'll toss it back to the desk.
Brennan, great work as always, man. From beginning to end, down its top passer and receiver, ASU football's backup quarterback delivered a performance for the ages. For more on the record-breaking performance, here's our Parker Bay.
looking to bounce back from a 32-point loss in his last start at Utah. Arizona State quarterback Jeff Sims suited up for his third road game start as a Sun Devil, taking on Iowa State. And the third time was a charm for the senior signal caller. Sims rushed for 228 yards, setting the program's record for the most rushing yards by a quarterback in a single game. The former Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket and Nebraska Cornhusker totaled 3 touchdowns and 405 yards, powering the Sun Devils to victory in Ames.
Are you aware of the record that you set today?
No.
Most rushing yards by a quarterback in school history.
For real? Dang.
How does that feel?
It's a blessing, man. It's a blessing. It's just a blessing. That's all I can say.
While rewriting Arizona State's history books, Sims was named the AP's National Player of the Week, and his game-worn jersey was recently added to the school's Hall of Fame museum. Despite losing quarterback Sam Levitt for the season due to injury, Sims has summoned some hope into the ASU faithful. With 3 games left in conference play, Sims looks to spark Sparky a 4-game winning streak with the hopes of returning to the Big 12 championship game. Reporting for Inferno Intel, this is Parker Bay.
After going 10-22 last year under former head coach Natasha Adair, women's basketball is off to a 1-0 start under head coach Molly Miller, and Kai Ginagabis is here at the desk for yet another edition of Kai's Corner. Kai, thanks for joining us. Hope all is well. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm really excited to get into it with you guys about women's hoops. They were on a roll against Coppin State, and I can't wait to tell you guys more.
Yeah, let's start right there. The season opening game, they pick up the victory. What led to Sun Devil success in your eyes?
Thanks, AJ. And to answer your question, the Sun Devils looked amazing out the gate. You can tell that they were really passionate and wanting to go out and perform. But the name of the game was the turnovers. ASU combined for 19 total steals and forcing Coppin State to give up the ball 33 times during the game. Let's not forget that 12 of those 19 steals came in the first half alone, while also forcing 8 blocks during 4 quarters of play. But not only that, the team also combined for 30 total rebounds, and that's what really helped this team run away with the win.
Yeah, Kai, you talked about their scrappy defense, but what players stood out to you in that game?
No, that's a great question, Andrew. This team is riddled with a bunch of star caliber players, especially with some of its transfers who made a huge impacts, like forward McKenna Brackens, who racked up 14 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 assists. But she still wasn't the only transfer that was putting in the work, like Pittsburgh transfer guard Marley Washnitz, who led the team with 17 points and 4 steals with 2 total rebounds. Another excellent performance that we saw was from Penn State transfer guard Gabby Elliott, where she racked up 7 steals, 16 points, and 4 rebounds. This team did an excellent job at moving the ball around and getting everyone involved, which was another huge key to this team's success.
Well, Kai, you highlighted what they did right, and specifically from those transfers they were at in the offseason. What did they struggle with in their opening matchup?
There's a couple of kinks that needed to work out for sure. ASU needs to work on its three-point percentage, most importantly, where they were only 2 for 19 on three-point shots, with Marley Washnitz being the only one to nail a three-pointer all night. This team definitely looked like they needed to focus on its mid-range attack, with more than half of ASU's points coming in the paint. However, I think everybody believes in Molly Miller. Her coaching style is exactly what ASU needs to keep winning. And she has exactly what every good coach has, which is the ability to look at her team and build on their success. You could really tell that Molly Miller was hyped after ASU's first win of the season, and it's obvious that she wants to continue this momentum going forward.
Well, thanks, Kai, for joining us at the desk for another edition of Kai's Corner and showing us everything Molly Miller's squad did en route to their 67-53 victory.
Thank you guys for having me. Appreciate it.
Of course. And after that fourth quarter stand, the women's hoops must now look ahead, but they won't have to leave the confines of Desert Financial Arena to do so. Our Isabella Perez has the forecast on what the Sun Devils hope to be a 2-0 start.
Arizona State women's basketball is back in action this Saturday, and the Sun Devils are ready to defend home court against Eastern Washington. The Sun Devils are riding some serious momentum after a 67-53 win over Coppin State, and they are looking to keep that fire burning in Tempe. But Eastern Washington is no easy matchup. The Eagles are coming off an absolute domination, a 99-43 blowout over Northwest University. It's clear that both teams are coming in hot. For the Eagles, guard Ella Gallington was on fire last game, dropping 21 points and draining threes like it was nothing, as she shot 75% from beyond the arc. Forward Courtney Grossman brought the heat with 17 points and 8 boards, a real presence in the paint. And Ellen Bowers, she's already turning heads, 15 points, 4 assists, and looking like a strong asset for this program. As a team, Eastern Washington was feeling it, shooting 39 of 76 from the floor and nearly flawless at the line, going 9 for 10. That means that the Sun Devils have to limit fouls and force the Eagles into tough looks if they want to control the tempo. Arizona State is coming in confident and ready to compete. Guard Marley Washenitz led the game last week with 17 points, 4 steals, and a perfect night from the line. She's the leader every team wants, composed, tough, and never shies away from taking that shot. Then there's forward Makina Brackens, bringing in that strength in the paint. 14 points, 8 rebounds, and she's always fighting for a position under the rim. And don't sleep on guard Gabby Elliott. 16 points and 7 steals. She was all over the floor, turning defense into offense and helping Sun Devils seal the win. This team loves to attack, half of their points last game being from the paint. They're physical, they're fast, and they're hungry. Arizona State versus Eastern Washington is going to be a matchup of 2 teams with talent, confidence, and plenty of skill. It's going to be a test of discipline, energy, and heart. Tempe's on fire, the Sun Devils are locked in, and they look ready to take care of business.
All right, thanks, Isabella. We're going to keep it on the court, but we're going to shift it over to the men's side of things. Our Ashton Sharon will take us through the tape and the keys to victory for ASU. Ashton?
Thanks, AJ. Look, Arizona State men's basketball got the victory 81-64 over Southern Utah. And right here, we got a little bit of film breakdown for you. We're going to roll this first clip. Truitt's going to take the ball. He's going to have it to Pig Johnson. Recognizing the defense. Unselfish basketball. Pig could have taken it, makes the pass to Mo Odom. Right here, we'll stop the clip. Bryce Ford does what Bobby Hurley loves, right? Bobby Hurley kind of wants this physical guard who can play a little bit bigger than he is, and we'll roll it. Bryce Ford's going to do exactly that. Going to go in for the layup over the taller defender. We'll stop the clip here because I really love how this play kind of set up and finished, right? The ball never hits the ground once. It was unselfish basketball, just like this last play, and that's really what you need on an overall basketball team, something Hurley preached. We'll play the clip. And just watch how it finishes. They're just going to find the open guy right to Ford again, and he was electric from 3 all night. This play, you're going to have Diop set up on a screen. Odom realizes the defense is going to crash towards Diop, has a wide open shot from downtown, and then right here we'll stop it. This was a little bit of a defensive breakdown for Arizona State, and this is kind of what you're going to get with a new team, right? 2 guys, Odom and teammates, not really communicating. They're both going to go to the ball instead of taking the roller, and we'll play it here. We'll see exactly what happens. Odom does a decent job trying to get back, but ultimately gives up a relatively open 3. And then we'll stop the clip right here because this is a same setup as to one of these earlier plays where Odom went screen side, saw the defense sagged and hit the 3. But let's see how it plays out a little differently here. Let's play the clip. Odom instead is going to go the other way. He keeps his eyes open, finds Bryce Ford wide open for the 3, recognizing the defense's miscues, realizing the adjustments they're trying to make throughout the game. And when you have a point guard and an overall team that are good enough to make these adjustments mid-game, it's telling you a lot of great things for this Arizona State Sun Devils team, and they could be a surprise team in the Big 12. Guys, back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Ashton. We've talked a lot about the action on the hardwood, but now we're heading to the rink, where Zach Nicolaitis has the story of an ASU hockey player who recently donned the maroon and gold for the first time.
Jack Beck made his highly anticipated ASU debut last Friday. The brother of former Sun Devil defenseman Noah Beck had an extraordinary journey to collegiate hockey. The Calgary Flames 2021 6th-round draft pick comes to Arizona State with professional hockey experience in the AHL and ECHL, something you don't see often. Beck started his unconventional stint with Arizona State this past weekend, scoring a goal in his debut, helping the Sun Devils to a 4-1 win over Miami of Ohio to commence conference play.
He was really good. He did a lot of really good things. It's only going to get better. I didn't expect him to be a world beater in his first series with us because it's his first games in college, but he made an impact. He made some big plays, scored a really, really nice goal. Probably should have had 1 or 2 on Saturday that could have extended that lead for us. But he's going to get better and better.
The 22-year-old right-handed winger signed with Arizona State after an impressive point-per-game pace in his rookie pro season. The NCAA Eligibility Center lists Beck as having 3 seasons to play over the next 5 years. According to the NCAA delayed enrollment guidelines, he couldn't play in the first 6 games of the 2025-26 season. 1 season of eligibility was lost by Beck under the post-enrollment delay stipulation. In other words, an athlete who appears in 7 or more games with another league after delayed enrollment starts will lose a season of NCAA eligibility. Games played by Beck in the AHL and ECHL between his 21st birthday on April 12, 2024 and April 11, 2025 counted as a year of service. While the process is as complicated as it gets, Beck looks to be a vital piece of ASU's forward core moving forward.
2 great players, 1 unique connection. Forwards Cruz Lucius and Bennett Shimmick have built an electric factory, so to speak, at Mullet Arena this season. And our Emma Wakefield has more on the new dynamic duo on the ice. And Emma, how did the veterans impact the Sun Devils last weekend?
Yeah, AJ, the dynamic duo ensured an ASU victory on Friday night against Miami of Ohio. So far, Shimmick and Lucius lead the Sun Devils this season with 10 points each in just 8 games. The Sun Devils were down 1-0 in the first period when Lucius passed the puck across the ice to beat Miami's goalie and set up Shimmick with a top-shelf goal. This began a 3-point weekend for Shimmick as the co-captain secured 2 more assists that same night.
Yeah, you touched on Shimmick's play over Halloween weekend. How did Lucius fare against the Redhawks?
Yeah, Lucius extended his point streak to 5 games in a row against Miami of Ohio with 2 assists on Friday and 1 goal on Saturday. This puts him at 7 goals within the last 8 games.
Lucius and Shimmick, they clearly have a connection playing on the same line, centered by Sean McGurn. What sparked this dynamic duo into action?
That's right, AJ. In fact, the duo has a connection that goes beyond their stats on the ice. They both grew up in Minnesota and played for Gentry Academy in high school. When it came time to decide where to play in college, however, they parted ways. Shimmick went to Providence and Lucius to Wisconsin. But in 2024, they entered the transfer portal, found an opportunity to reconnect, and picked up right where they left off years ago.
So it's been awesome playing with him. I mean, he makes plays that, nobody else in the country can make, I think. So it's pretty special being out there with him, and you never really know what's going to happen, but he's going to do something good with it.
All right, thanks, Emma, for breaking down the team's duo with the origins from the state of hockey. The Sun Devils are 3-5 so far this season, and they're gearing up to take on Colorado College for a 2-game home series this weekend.
It's no question that ASU volleyball has been red hot this year, picking up right where they left off last season. Rome Katie shows us what's fueling its success and what's next for JJ Van Niel's squad with just 7 games left in the regular season.
Thanks, Andrew. This season, Arizona State volleyball continues to be one of the most successful teams, not just in the Big 12, but in the entire country. Currently, the Sun Devils sit at the 8th spot of the AVCA rankings with a 19-3 overall record and a 10-1 conference record. However, it hasn't always been smooth sailing for Sparky. 2 of those losses came against the then number 9 ranked Pitt Panthers and then number 2 ranked Texas Longhorns. Both teams are considered to be volleyball powerhouses that consistently make deep runs in the NCAA tournament. And that one conference loss I mentioned, that came against the unranked Iowa State Cyclones in 5 sets on Halloween. In fact, you're going to have to go back to September 27th of last season to find the Sun Devils' last conference loss, where they were defeated by the then number 19 ranked Baylor Bears in 4 sets. Now, let's face it, head coach JJ Van Niel knows how to build a winning culture in Tempe. There's a reason why he signed a contract extension to stay as the man in charge until 2029. He's amassed a 77-13 record. He took the Sun Devils to back-to-back NCAA tournament appearances, and he secured the first conference title in the team's history. But regardless of those accolades, the Maroon and Gold have not had the same amount of success in the postseason as they have in the regular season. They lost in the Sweet 16 in 2023 to the number 1 seeded Stanford Cardinal and got bounced in the second round last season by the number 6 seeded Texas A&M Aggies. So for this team to be considered as one of the top powerhouses in the country, the first thing they need to do is win the remaining games on its schedule. They have a big test coming up tonight against the number 21 ranked BYU Cougars in the second game of a 3-game stretch at Desert Financial Arena. Next week, they go on the road next Saturday to face the Colorado Buffaloes, who have the best chance of dethroning the Devils as conference champs this season. If ASU can do that and defend the Big 12 title, they have to go on a deep run in the Big Dance, or else they will leave its dancing shoes behind and only be considered as a regular season threat. Back to you guys at the desk.
All right, that's going to do it for yet another edition of Inside the Inferno, and it was an honor to share the desk with you today. You know, the teleprompter and I, we're on speaking terms now, and hopefully we can come back and talk a little bit later.
Well, that's very good. Tune in next week for our final show of the semester, and if you want to keep up with everything Arizona State athletics, don't forget to follow us on X and Instagram at Inferno Intel, and check out our website at infernointelmedia.com. For AJ Gonsalves and our entire crew behind the scenes, I'm Andrew Neerum. Thank you for tuning in to Inside the Inferno.